Hi everybody, welcome to Sew Me Sunshine. Today we're in the Sew Me Sunshine studio filming, so you might hear the girls packing your orders. Thank you so much as always for all your lovely orders. Today we thought it'd be really useful for you guys to see some of our fabric picks that we think are really suitable for beginner sewers. So I only learnt to sew myself back in 2017. I'd always wanted to learn to sew, just hadn't got round to it, and then my lovely husband surprised me with a sewing machine and I learnt to sew. So I suppose once you've got your machine and you've learnt the basics like threading your machine, which there's so many tutorials out there to help you do that, and actually the sewing machine manual will tell you how to thread your machine. It's not that scary. So after you've got that and you've got your basics like your thread and your seam ripper, then you're probably thinking about, right, which sort of patterns and what fabric is good for me as a beginner seamstress. So that's why we thought this video would be really good for you guys. So we're going to go through a few different fabrics and pair them up with some beginner friendly patterns for you, and hopefully that will help you with your sewing journey. So one of the first fabrics I thought about was a lightweight denim, and that's because one of the first projects I did when I learned to sew was the Tilly and the Buttons Clio. Now what's quite good about Tilly and the Buttons is that they're like most independent designers. Their instruction booklet is very easy to follow, and it's like having someone there with you when you're trying to make the pattern. And with a lightweight denim, it's fairly stable, so it's quite easy to sew with. You wouldn't necessarily need a special type of needle to sew with it. You could just use a brand new sharp standard sewing needle. And you could as well, if you're really quite new, you could decide to not do the top stitching and just skip that. But if you wanted to, then obviously you'd need to look at potentially getting some top stitching thread and a top stitching needle. But again, the pattern does go through top stitching really well. And when it comes to the fastenings, all it is dungaree buckles, and we stock the ones from Prim, and they're really easy to apply. So yeah, the Clio and something like a lightweight denim is perfect for someone who's new to sewing. Another fabric you could use for the Clio is a jumbo cotton cord, or you could use a needle cord. But what's quite good about the jumbo one is it's a bit more structured and stable, so it's great if you're new again to sewing. So again, you could skip the top stitching, but it would make a really nice pinafore. It's also very quick make, so you'll have that instant satisfaction that you've made something that you can wear out. So yeah, the jumbo cords, which we've got in lots of different colours, are really good when you're new to sewing. So the next few patterns we wanted to show you are from Closet Core Patterns. Heather designed this capsule collection with beginners in mind. I'm going to try and pronounce the names of the patterns, but I do apologise if I don't quite do the name justice. I'm a Londoner and have a very London accent. So we've decided this was going to be Cielo. And it's a really lovely kind of like, it can be either a top with some really nice statement sleeves, or it can be like lengthened into kind of like tunic short dress as well. The line drawings are at the back there. And it's a very simple pattern to make, and again it will give you, it's quite a quick one to make, so you'll get quite instant satisfaction. And what's really good about Closet Core Patterns is they've got a really good blog, so they've got lots of tutorials on there for different elements with all of their patterns. I use their blog quite a lot, so I definitely would recommend it. So for a beginner who's going to make their first ever one of the fabrics you could use of ours is a cotton chambray, which would work really well. I won't bring it over because it's on a very big roll, but it's nice and structured, but it's still nice and loose and airy, and it's fairly easy to sew, and that would make a lovely top. The other fabrics I've got here for you is what we call a medium weight cotton. So you might find some other shops refer to it as a quilting weight, and that's because it can be used for quilting as well. But it doesn't mean it's not suitable for garments. It totally is. It's just going to give you quite a structured top look. It won't be flowy, it'll be nice and structured, which is great for those statement sleeves. And the Rifle Paper Company, obviously they do the beautiful floral prints, and they're on these lovely cottons, and it's really nice stable fabric, so you won't have to worry about any slipping when you're sewing. So this is a really, really good one, and it'll be a nice quick make. And then if you're feeling a little bit more confident, you could go for a cotton lawn. So both of these are cottons, but a cotton lawn is finer, okay? So it's got a little bit, it's not as structured as the other one, it's got a bit more drape to it, and it's finer. So you'd have to take your time with it, but again, it's a fairly structured fabric to sew with. It shouldn't slip anywhere. And we've got some lovely cotton lawns from Lady McElroy in stock, and in lots of different styles, and they'll be really, really lovely for the top or tunic length. So the next pattern in Closet Core's little collection is the Fiore. Again, I'm sorry if I haven't quite pronounced that accurately. Tried my best. So this is a lovely skirt pattern, again really suitable for beginners, and I've got two fabrics that would work really well. So we've got like a rainbow of different colours of this fabric, and this is our 100% linen. It's enzyme wash linen. All that means is that the linen's been softened with enzymes rather than chemicals, so it's a bit more environmentally friendly. That's a very brief explanation, but it's nice and soft, and it's nice and structured. It's not drapey, so again, really, really stable fabric if this is the first time you're going to be sewing this skirt, sorry. The other fabric you could use again is one of the cotton chambrays. That would work really well as well. And I wanted to get something that was a little bit more drapey, but still the more structured side of drapey, and we've got lots and lots of tencel twills in stock by Meat Milk. Now on the website they're called Smooth Drape, I think it's Smooth Drape Twill with Tencel Fibres. The reason it's that long is just legal reasons, because tencel is trademarked, the word and the name. But what's quite nice about these is it's quite weighty. So it is a bit drapey, as you can see here, but it's quite full, what we'd call a full drape. And because of the twill weave, it's a lot less slippy, so it's easier to sew with, and it would work really well for the skirt. And also, I obviously, like I said, Heather's really good at explaining how to do each step, and she's got loads of tutorials. But if you're still scared about the buttons and the buttonholes, we do sell some press studs. So if you wanted to avoid that step just for now, you could use poppers for the skirt. So you might be a little bit scared of sewing with a knit fabric, also known as a jersey fabric. There's lots of stuff out there that kind of scares beginners from making anything with a knit fabric, but you don't need to be scared, especially if you pick the right type of knit fabric. So one of the best knit fabrics when you're new to sewing with knits is something called a Ponte di Roma. So it's quite what I'd call a medium weight fabric. It's structured. It does obviously have a stretch, because it's a knit fabric, but it's very stable. So when you're sewing it, you won't have to worry about it slipping all over the place, and it's a nice fabric when you're new to sewing with knits. And one of the patterns we thought would be really good for that would be the Megan Nilsson Yara. So again, it's suitable for beginners. Don't forget, when you're going to be sewing with a knit fabric, you need to use a jersey needle, and also you will have to use probably like a zigzag stitch rather than obviously a straight stitched, in order to allow it to stretch Don't be fooled in thinking that you need to use an overlocker. You don't. You can use a normal sewing machine to sew your knit projects. So especially when you're new, just go for a sewing machine, nice simple top like this, or even the Linden by Grainline Studios, and really good, nice structured Ponte d'Aroma. If you're really keen to make some trousers, then we thought that the Neen pattern by Named Patterns would be a really good one. Again, apologies if I haven't quite said that correctly. So these are just like nice simple elastic waist culottes, so no big fastenings or anything to worry about. And again, you could then pair it with one of the tops that you might have made from some of the other patterns. And what's quite fun about this pattern is that you can make it in woven, so something like a cotton or a cotton linen, and you can make it in a knit fabric. So like I was saying earlier, a Ponte d'Aroma is a really stable knit fabric, so it's really good if you're new to sewing with knit fabrics. We've got lots and lots of different solid colours. This is one of my favourites, and I think it would make a lovely bottom weight colour. And then, like as I said, if you fancied making it in a woven, we've got tons of these different colours of these cotton linens. And because of the blend with them, they're obviously a bit lighter than our 100% linens, but they are still structured, so they won't be slipping all over your machine. You'll just have to make sure, because they do fray, that you finish your seams properly. So yeah, if you're really into making trousers, then yeah, we definitely recommend this pattern and give it a go with one of these fabrics. The next pattern we wanted to show you is the Jamie Pajama Bottoms by Tilly and the Buttons. That's lovely Megan, who's from half of Pigeon Wishes at the front there. We love Megan here at Sew Me Sunshine. So you can make trousers or a short version. I have actually seen people make the short version but actually wear it as like outdoor wear. I think Sandeep from System and Taka made some, I think. But they're really nice, easy pattern to make, and also, like I said earlier, the instructions are very beginner friendly. So a really good fabric you could use for the bottoms would be a cotton lawn. We've got so many different colours and different designs for you to choose from. It's just a nice lightweight and breathable fabric, but again, it's not going to slip everywhere on your machine. It'd be quite a nice, easy sew. This is one of the ones I've picked out just because I think they'd be really fun as pyjama bottoms. And as Jenny pointed out when we started filming this, you know, what's great about making PJ bottoms is the fact that no one's going to see them. So if it's a first make, it's a good one to try out. The last pattern we thought would be really good for a beginner is a much loved pattern at Sew Me Sunshine, which is the Wilder Gown. It's one of my favourite patterns. What's really cool about it is it's got you've got a blouse length if full dress isn't your thing, you've got the full length, or you've got kind of like a shorter length dress. And as Jenny pointed out as well, it's got no fastenings, but it's got the tie. But if you don't, you know, you could use just a ribbon for the tie element and just have it as a contrast, which would look equally lovely. And a really good stable fabric for you to make your Wilder from is one of our cotton poplins. What's quite nice about them as well, they're not overly expensive. So if you're a bit worried about spending too much on lots of fabric for your first Wilder gown, then something like the cotton poplin's a really good go-to. It's very fashionable actually, this one, because of the floral design on it, and it's not sheer, so you won't have to worry about lining or anything like that. So it's a really good type of fabric to go to when you're new to sewing. If you wanted to be a bit more adventurous, you could go for one of our embroidery and glaze fabrics for the blouse, which again is quite a structured fabric, but obviously it has the kind of whole pattern throughout it, but that would make a lovely blouse, and you could wear that with dungarees on top, which would be nice. Again, going back to the cotton linen, you could also use this for the wilder gown. It'd be a bit more structured, but it would still work really beautifully. I hope you really enjoyed that, and if you're new to sewing, welcome to the sewing community. It's a great place to be, and there's always people willing to help out there. So if you've got any questions, don't be afraid to ask. You can always email me at harriet@sewmesunshine.co.uk, and I'm happy to answer your questions. And also, essentially, don't be afraid to just give it a go. That nothing's gonna, nothing disastrous is gonna happen, and if you take your time, I'm sure you'll have a beautiful garment at the end of it. And then don't forget, the best bit about is wearing your garment, showing it off to everybody, and when someone asks you, oh, where did you get that from, you can say, I made it. So it's a really lovely feeling when you get to say that. So I hope this has helped you with your sewing journey, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.